Good morning, it's Mr. Mascheroni again. We're going to be doing a lesson on hyperbolas, another conic. A hyperbola is a locus of points equidistant from two fixed points such that the distance is a constant difference. That's the official definition. When you draw one out, okay, it essentially looks like this or like this, okay? And what we talk about is this line here. We call that the transverse axis. I'm going to write it right here. Transverse axis. Okay, and when it's horizontal, I'll show you the formats. And when these open up and down, your transverse axis goes through there. I'm sorry, I should have drawn that line straighter, but you guys understand. Okay, when we do these, we have a center. Okay, it's called a center. And then what we have are vertices, and the vertices are where the hyperbola goes through the transverse axis. I'll just put a V there. And then out farther, we have foci. Focus or foci for plural. I'll put that there. Okay, and now I'm going to show you a couple things. And these measurements go with what you will see on the formula for them on the equation. This distance right here is A, okay? And this distance, that's from center to vertex, and from center to focus is C. And I'm going to show you where those come into play a little bit, okay? Now A is here. What we have, what would go the opposite direction, and I'll draw it in with a dotted line here, is called the conjugate axis, okay? And that's where B value comes from, okay? Now let me give you forms of the equation, okay? This is where your vertex is 0, 0, and I will also show you where your vertex is HK, as we have for all of these. Okay, when your transverse axis is horizontal, okay, when it's horizontal, your x coordinate comes first. Okay, so it's going to be x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. You're always setting it equal to 1. Okay, and over here with your vertex HK, you're just putting in your h and your k. X minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. Okay, and then when you have a vertical transverse axis, the only thing that changes is your y coordinate comes first. Y squared over a squared equals x squared over b squared equals 1. I'm sorry, that's not equal, that's minus. And then you have y minus k squared over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. I'll slide that over there. Sorry about that. Okay, so those are the forms of your equation. And just so you know, for a and b and c, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Okay, so that's what you get. All right, now there's a couple other things we're going to talk about. There are oblique asymptotes. And when I say oblique asymptotes, the asymptotes that go right down here through your center. Okay, and to find those, again, when you have a horizontal transverse axis, it is y minus k equals plus or minus b over a x minus h. Okay? And then if it's a vertical transverse axis, you have y minus k equals plus or minus a over b times x minus h. Okay? That's where those come from. And those come in when we sketch, and I will show you how to sketch. And we also have one last piece, and it is called eccentricity. I apologize if you guys hear my daughter downstairs fooling around. I don't want to stop this to go get it. Your eccentricity is C over A. Okay? As E approaches 1, your hyperbola becomes pointed. It's more pointed. As your eccentricity approaches infinity, it becomes flatter. Okay? So that's it for hyperbolas. Now I'm going to do some examples for you. Those are the broad strokes. Now I'm going to hit a couple examples for you and show you how to sketch them. Number one, okay, hang on one second.